Coming in. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Thursday. I know everyone is probably still so busy getting back to school and getting back in the whole routine of everything, but we're so happy that you're here joining us for another coffee and convo. We have my great friends, Josh and Anna, who are going to talk a lot about what Trafera offers to our customers in terms of educational resources. We have some really amazing free resources that are available to our customers to really help them implement technology in a meaningful way in their classrooms. And they're going to kind of walk us through some of those and how to get started with them. So you may be new to them, you may already be using them, but either way, Josh and Anna are going to talk us through some of those. Housekeepings, just a couple things. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to pop them in the chat. I will be watching that. Anna, Josh will be watching that, and we'll make sure to answer your questions either throughout the presentation or at the end during Q&A. And then the last thing is, again, if you have been here a few times, you know that if you want to get that coffee gift card, you need to complete the exit survey at the end of the session. So just wait until the end. It'll pop up if you complete it and you had registered with a valid school email address, you'll be qualified to get that coffee gift card, and we'll get that to you as soon as we can. But as always, you did not come here to listen to me talk, so I'm going to pass it over to Anna and Josh.
Awesome. We can start with introductions if you want to, Anna. So in case we haven't met, which some of you I know here, but some of you I don't. I'm just scanning the participants. So it's fun to meet some new folks. In case we haven't met, my name is Josh, and I am Director of Education Strategy at Trafera. I'm a career educator by trade. I still, when I'm introducing myself to people, I just say, hey, I'm a teacher, because that's so much easier to explain than what I really do for work. I've taught and I've been in school administration, and now have the opportunity to lead our education initiatives at Trafera, which you're going to learn all about today. Anna, do you want to do a little introduction?
Sure. I'm Anna, and I'm here in Central Illinois. And like Josh, I was a career educator as well. Still consider myself an educator for sure. I taught 20 years at the elementary level. I was a classroom teacher, and I was very heavy into STEM with K-8 with STEM and gifted and technology integration and all of that fun stuff. So I have a pretty extensive background in education along with Josh, and I'm excited to be here today and talk about some of these just amazing resources that we've been putting together the last couple of years.
Yeah, me too. I'll tell you, one of my favorite part about getting to do this one is there's nothing that we have to present today that costs anybody any money. So it's fun to do a webinar where we don't have to say, oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to send you a bill for this stuff. This is all completely free. Now, hold on, let me back up. I want to say this accurately. Everything that we're presenting today is free to Trafera customers. So if you're not buying from Trafera, I don't know why. You should be.
You should be.
So to be a customer means that you've bought at least 50 devices in the last 18 months or something like that, or you've bought panels from us in the last 15 months, or you're buying professional development from us. So we set the threshold for what defines a customer pretty low, because we want to be able to give these things away. When Anna and I first started, we were like, we're teachers, so we were like, let's just give it all away for free. And our leadership was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah. We'll give it away for free, but we want it to be at least to our customers.
I have a couple parameters, and there are some things in here that are free for everybody, whether you're a customer or not. There's definitely some demos, but yeah, I mean, we're dropping off this amazing technology at these schools, and we want to help support it. And we love teachers, so we need to give them everything they need.
Well, I'll start. Kate, when you get a second, if you spotlight my video, then I can just share from the slide deck.
There it is.
Awesome. So I'll talk about our education initiatives at Trafera, and really there are two central themes that we want to hit on. The first one, well, let me share this first. So in case you're unfamiliar with Trafera and what we do, if you imagine a typical classroom, you're going to see at the front of the room, you'll see a display. You're probably going to see charging stations. You're going to see printers. You're going to see, computers, laptops, desktops, that kind of stuff. Any of the technology that you would imagine in a classroom, we probably sell it in some way. And we not only sell the stuff, we want to support it. And so when you think about our education team, you're seeing Anna and I here kind of representing the broader team, but it says 8, it depends upon how you define that. There's somewhere between 8 and 10 of us. Now, some of our educators are functioning more in sales roles and that kind of thing, but there are 8 people who are dedicated to the sales team from an instructional, like an educator empowerment standpoint. And everyone on the team holds a master's degree or higher, has a national board certification, or industry recognized certifications like Google certified trainers, or Google certified level 1, level 2. We have people on the team, help me here, Anna, that are like Microsoft certified. You and I do the Apple teacher certifications. And the reason that we do those things is we know that people are teaching in complex environments, and they need to be able to speak 2 or 3 different languages, right?
So yeah, teachers wear so many different hats, and we've got a lot of different hats too on our staff here. Just well-rounded.
This is a statement that kind of defines our heart around education. Is there are companies that are similar to Trafera's that define success by, the bottom line. And as long as they're selling stuff to schools, they see that as a successful technology deployment. But for us, it's not what we're trying to do here. We can see a deployment, we could see a scenario where we sell all kinds of things to a school district and there's no educational shift. There's no transition in outcomes in terms of student performance and student engagement. And we measure success that way by looking at the change in instruction and the growth among educators using the technology that we sell, obviously, but to what we're looking specifically at how those learning experiences are shifted because of the technology that we provide and the support that we provide to teachers. And that's how we're defining success here. So with that being said, I want to tell you about 2 education initiatives. The first one is a product that we call Trails, and the second one is our professional development. So we were joking about this. I want to tell you kind of the origin story of Trails. So it's a lesson library. There's like 700 lessons in this library. They're just PDF lessons that we've created in-house and through our contractors and that kind of thing. But the funny thing is, if you rewind the clock, like I don't know what, probably 22 years ago. Yeah,
3, 4 years. I mean, right before COVID hit, really.
Yes. Yeah. It was like a Tuesday night, and I'm sitting at home. I get a call from my boss at the time, Chad Dimlow. I don't know if you guys know Chad. He was like, "Hey, what happens like if we sell some stuff to a school district? What happens after that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, hopefully they get some training. We'll try to do that." And he was like, "Yeah. But like, is there a place where people can go find lessons that use the technology that we sell?" And I was like, I don't know. I mean, you could go to Teachers Pay Teachers maybe and find some stuff, but really you're going to be looking through, there might be a lot of junk there might be some good stuff. It's kind of hard to tell. And he was like, "Well, we should create it." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right, we should create it." And then I hung up the phone and I was like, "Dear God, I hope we do not create it." Like I don't want to do anything but go create this resource from scratch. And so Anna and I started talking about it, and the idea of creating something of value that has a library of lessons that leverage the technology that we sell, that we feel like could do it in a meaningful way, was overwhelming. Because like, so what if we have 10 or 15 lessons? That's not really useful to a school district. It's going to have to be hundreds. And so I don't know, but I mean, fast forward now 3 or 4 years, there's actually something about it.
Yeah,
700 lessons in this library.
Well, and once we started digging into it, we started getting really excited to just show, how every lesson, the point of them is, we always say we're not trying to be a curriculum company. That's
Right.
not what we are. That's not who we are. But we really want to show how a teacher can take the technology that's in their classroom and really implement it in a meaningful way. So, all of our resources or supplies for each lesson include usually at least a couple technology tools, whether they be websites or apps or extensions, and they kind of work in combination with one another to create a really excellent lesson that, once we started writing these things and digging into it, we just got pretty excited about it. And obviously, Josh and I didn't write all of these. We have a whole web of amazing educators all around the country that have contributed to this. But seeing these filter in and populate this library and the use that teachers have been getting out of them has just been really one of our proudest accomplishments for sure.
For sure. So we call it Trails, and again, Trails used to be an acronym. Now we've kind of ditched the acronym a little bit, and we just think of it as Trails. But if you rewind the clock a little bit, it stands for Trafera Resources and
investigative lessons for schools.
For schools. It's kind of a mouthful. It's just easier to remember it as Trails. But what you're getting here is just a library of searchable PDF lesson plans that are aligned to standards through the key concept of the standard. So you wouldn't put in like your state's alphanumeric standard. Instead, what you would just put in is the concept that you're searching for, like perspectives and conflict, or gravity and air resistance, or adding 2-digit numbers, or whatever. You put in that concept into the search box and you'll find lessons. Or you could search by a tech tool. Like say you're inspired by like Pear Deck and you're like, let's see what they have on Pear Deck. You can search for that. You can search by your grade level, subject area, what else? And do you want something that's taught strictly face-to-face, or something that would work for a hybrid learning environment? Maybe you have some kids that are contagious and need to stay home, whatever. You can search by face-to-face or virtual, or a mixture of both.
And all of them are created to be able to be implemented virtually because, like we said, this just started coming together right when COVID was hitting. So that timing was kind of nice there when teachers were using it and really had that need for a couple of years. But, it seems like the remote situation is lasting, and there's different situations where there are a lot of our students that are staying home, so it is a great option to be able to work with them in a remote setting.
Yeah. So when you go to Trails and you're browsing for this content, you'll see that Trails comes in 2 different flavors. You have Trail Guides and Trail Mix. So I'll start with Trail Guides first, because those are the first lessons that we created. There are 35 trail guides out there, and a trail guide is a thematic unit. So in our format, the unit would have 5 lessons. So those 5 lessons are written in the 5E model, which is I don't know if you're familiar with the 5Es, but it's kind of a long format lesson. It's not a lesson that you present really in one day. So the lesson would be presented over 3 to 5 days worth of instruction. And then it's in a unit. So the unit might take somewhere between 3 weeks and a month to deliver. So one way of thinking about it in terms of trail guides is there's 35 months worth of instruction there. It's a lot. Now you spread that out over K-8. So, it spreads out kind of thin, but everything in trail guides, which is this material over here, is aligned to ISTE standards, the alphanumeric standards. So you can search for the actual standard, and NGSS standards. So if you're in a state that uses NGSS, you can find it specifically that way. Otherwise, you can just browse for the key concept.
And Josh, I don't think we mentioned at the beginning, there's a bit.ly on it where, these are actually clickable, these lessons, so they can have the demo of these lessons to click on and see it up close as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I can put that in the chat.
Yeah. And Gina, I do see that domain access is expired. So what we do is when your school district purchases with us, it goes into we green light it for 15 months. And then after 15 months, you might see an error like that. But if you give me a second, Gina, when we're done with this, I'll go track it down. And yeah, there you go, Kate. Yeah. We'll go track it down and make sure that you have access to it, because sometimes there is some manual intervention on that. So anyway, we talked about trail guides. That's the long format thematic units. Now, the flip side of that is trail mix. So trail mix are 1 page, short and sweet, teach it in 40 minutes or less lessons. And, we loved the trail guides, but they were conceptualized before COVID. And then, we had this situation where we needed really bite-sized, like 1 day short and sweet lessons. And also I think about this a lot from the substitute lesson plan situations. Like, I just need something I can hit print on and give it to a sub and let them just go with it and run it. That's what a trail mix is. It's not just that, but it works really well in that because the lesson is fully baked. If you need a rubric, there's a rubric. If you need a handout for students, it's going to be fully baked in there. The teacher doesn't have to create any of those resources, but it's going to leverage the technologies that what we're providing and provide some inspiration for some new technologies that maybe the teachers never seen before. Like, there might be something from like a Jamboard or a Pear Deck or whatever, and it's all going to be infused into this lesson. Am I saying that right, Anna?
Yeah, trail guides, short and sweet, 1 to 2 class periods, and the trail mixes are short and sweet, and the trail guides are the long thematic ones, and those can take up to 2 to 3 weeks. So depending on what you're looking for, most of the trail guides are also science focused, and the trail mixes are an entire range of every core subject plus STEM and social emotional learning and computer science and art and music and all of that. So there's a little bit of a little bit of something for everyone in that, and that's for K-12 as well.
Awesome. And Alexa, I do see your message there too. If you would be willing to private message one of us, just the tail end of your email address, like at whateverschools.com, we'll make sure that you get whitelisted there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was going to see if you want to talk about Storybook Hub, and
yeah, I'd love to.
I can do this, and I might need Anna Kate, I might need you to spotlight my window, that way it doesn't switch when Anna starts talking. Go ahead, Anna.
Sure. Okay, so this is another resource that we have right on the Trails website, and this is actually open and free and available to everyone, whether you're a Trafera customer or not. We have what we call a Storybook Hub, and it features our little mascot, Tom Traferatops. He's like a Triceratops, but a little different, so it's a Traferatops. And teachers in general just really understand the importance of literacy, especially elementary teachers. I always started my lessons, my units, whenever I could, with a book, because when you sit down with a book, it's so engaging, exciting for the students. It kind of puts them on a level playing field as well, because they can all relate back to that one book that they all listen to together, regardless about what their individual background experiences or knowledge on that subject are. You've got that book to kind of ground everybody. So we actually have 4 books about different topics that we've written, and each of these are on our website, and each of them is available in an ebook form that can be downloaded or an audio read aloud, which is really fun. We have a professional voiceover actor that has read each of these books, and Josh has added music to the back, and they're really fun to, have students watch either individually on their devices or put it in front of the room on the panel. But our first book is about Tom Traferatops recognizes his strengths, and that's all about social emotional learning. That we're all special in our own different ways. And if I didn't say this, these are geared for K-5 students. And the second book is about STEM, what STEM is, which is a big concept for not only students, but for teachers as well. And this book kind of helps lay out really what STEM learning is. We all know the acronym of science, technology, engineering, and math, but what does it mean to be a STEM thinker or seeing the world through a STEM lens? So this really focuses on STEM and higher inquiry thinking and higher inquiry questions. The fourth book down there in the bottom left corner is Tom Traferatops Becomes a Good Digital Citizen, and that's about digital citizenship and internet safety. In this story, we've got Tom, and he's making some not so great choices playing a video game online, and his brother comes in and hits him with some wisdom and helps him be a little bit safer in his endeavors. And then our final one, which just was released very recently within the last couple weeks, is Tom Triceratops learns about coding and future ready skills, which is just exactly what it sounds like. Talks about really the beginning steps of programming and coding and what that means, and the importance of future ready skills like collaboration and perseverance and creativity. So each of these books is on our website, and each of these books actually has 8 trail mix lessons that go with them. There's 4 that are for K-2, and there's 4 that are designed for 3 to 5. And back to, having access to the Trails library. In order to have access to all 8 lessons, you do need to be a Trafera customer, but there are free samples right here on this page, as well as on our website. You can submit for another one of the lesson plans there as well. So this is a pretty neat part to our whole Trails ecosystem that we have going on.
Yeah, and Anna won't say this, so I guess I'll say it. Anna is not just proud of these books, but she's the author of them as well. And
yeah, that's been a pretty exciting thing. It was always kind of a bucket list item to write a children's book, and now I've had the opportunity to write 4 of them, and it's been fun. It's been neat. More. Yeah, hopefully have a whole series.
Yeah, I can tell I'm getting to be. My dad is a crier. I'm getting to be an old man because I'm. I read these books about these dinosaurs, and I'm.
Tom Triceratops is special, and so are you, Josh.
Yeah, he's making good choices. I'm really proud of him.
He is. Yeah.
All right, so that's a lot about trails, and so when I think about trails, I think about Trail Guides, Trail Mix, and really the Storybook Hub. Is kind of an extension about that. So we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about professional development. And professional development comes in 2 different flavors, and it goes down 2 different tracks. So we have face-to-face professional development that we say is provided by these 8 very skilled and diverse team of educators that just come to the table with a variety of expertise and skills. I mean, there's no one on our team. We all harmonize so well. I mean, there's no carbon copies of anybody. It's like if there's something specific that I need from STEM, I've got people that I can lean on because I love it, but it's not my world, and so we've got a lot of expertise spread across our organization. We can call on different people from different skill sets. And here's the thing that I wanted to say about that. We do have a little bit of a library. I guess I can show you. Actually, we're coming to that. So let me just come back to that in a minute. But we have a library of like sessions that we can do, but we say we would rather lead with it being just very highly customizable because our team is so diverse and everyone comes to the table with different things that they can bring. We start the professional development process by asking the question, what are you trying to accomplish this year academically? And based on knowing what schools' academic goals are, then we can kind of find a way to back ourselves into training through that backwards design process. But we would rather do it that way than just by bulleting, a list of things that we do. But in the spirit of just trying to help shape it a little bit, we provide training on anything that you can think of with Google, with Chrome, with engineering design process. My background is more on leadership teams and school improvement and technology wellness, that kind of thing. Anna does a lot with STEM. We have other people that are doing STEM. Am I missing any other big broad categories?
Did you mention panels?
Panels for sure. Yeah. We have people that have a lot of expertise in that and we say panels, we mean like New Line panels or Promethean panels. We sell both and provide training on both. But that's, when we talk about training, it is the how to hit the right buttons, on the technology to make technology work for you. The button pushing and how to stuff goes down one track. But then the other track is not just understanding what buttons to push, but how to create a learning experience. It's more pedagogical. So we think about how can I create a learning experience that is differentiated and more meaningful. And that is less about device centric stuff and more about the art of, of teaching. So that's face-to-face professional development. And we also do professional development on demand and virtual. So this is, if you've ever browsed Netflix, then you're already familiar with our on-demand PD. It's video-based on-demand PD. This is not stuff that we're sourcing from YouTube and other places. We're creating this in-house, just like we create our trails lessons in-house with our own staff and our own people. So the same is true with Trafera On-Demand PD. We have a studio in Louisiana and a professional videographer on staff, and we go film these things in a very professional setting, and they're polished from tips to tails. I mean, it's some of the most polished and professional video production that I've ever seen, and that's kudos to our marketing team. But it's very well done, and it's topical. So like whatever you feel like your needs are, if you're an instructional leader on this call and you've got people on staff that you think, man, I would love to get them some more classroom management training or more training on the Sandler model or how to use their panels, you can go here, log into the system just like you do log into Trails or anything else, and you're not going to pay a nickel for any of this. It's completely free and at your service. Anything else, Anna, before I go on?
I don't think so. I was just thinking though, I don't think we mentioned anywhere on the slide deck about What's Up Wednesday. So I was going to throw a link into the chat about that of if people wanted to subscribe to it, which are just every Wednesday, which well, I guess yesterday was Wednesday, today's Thursday. A video comes straight to your email, and it's just a very quick, snappy tech tidbit about, really a whole variety of things. It could be purely pedagogical. It could bring in the different types of technology as well. But I'm going to throw the website in there, the link in there for you to be able to subscribe to that. And we also have a playlist of them all on YouTube as well. So just another resource coming at you.
Yeah, and speaking of other resources, the third kind of category.
Oh, Amanda said she loves her What's Up Wednesday videos. Thanks for that shout out, Amanda. That's amazing.
Yeah, I just filmed one today, actually. I'll tell you about it here in just 1 second. Oh, look at that. Jacob's doing it too. That's awesome.
Yay.
I love that. So speaking of resources, I'll give you this last piece and then we're going to shut it down for questions. When we mention our education initiatives, there are the two big ones that we talked about, and then this third category. So the big ones are Trails and professional development. And then this third category is all around thought leadership and just extra stuff. So let us just take a second to tell you about some of the extra stuff in thought leadership. This STEM success matrix is something that we are so proud of. I can imagine as a former school administrator how difficult it can be to go observe something that you may or may not know a whole lot about. And so we're put in these situations where we're asked to give feedback on something that we, don't really know, just kind of know enough to be dangerous. And the analogy that I always use is I recently watched a documentary on Arnold Schwarzenegger and him becoming a bodybuilder. And they had this episode that was all about these huge muscle-bound athletes. And I thought everybody on there just looked amazing. And if I was the judge for that, I would have just been like, you guys are all killing it. Everybody gets a 10 out of 10. But they have these folks that are in that world, and they can give quality feedback to those athletes and say, hey, if you just tweak this thing, or if you did this other thing differently, you could improve your performance. And the analogy is sometimes we have principals that are in there, or mentor teachers or whoever, that are observing these STEM lessons, and we perpetuate mediocrity because we don't know what it looks like when it's done well. And so the whole thing is, with this STEM success matrix, is this defines what really high quality STEM looks like when it's done well. And it works like a checklist. It's available in this poster format and also in like a checklist format. And you can use it as an administrator who's giving feedback, and you can also use it as a lesson planner who is just designing STEM lessons and you want them to be very effective. You can use this to help frame it and provide some context. This is the last piece. I need to move my little picture out of the way. This, as far as I know, I think is the last piece. This covers like all of the other things that we do. We mentioned the What's Up Wednesday is something that we're really proud of. I just filmed one today on 3 tips for using music in the classroom. We have these webinars that you're participating in now. We do blogs, case studies. We have little collaborations here and there. And this is all stuff that we're just doing for free because we love it. As we live this world. I think that's it. Just so our contact information. I'm gonna leave this up for just a hot second, because if you're in a situation where you think, hey, this has been fun, but it's moved kind of quickly, I'm not sure that I got everything that I need, that bit.ly that's down there. And I think Anna also dropped it in the chat. That's available for you to get this slide deck, and there's a lot of items on there that are clickable. And then our email address is obviously, reach out if we can support you in any way. I know that Kate is already working in the background to get those accounts whitelisted that were not already whitelisted. We want to be able to give you access to all the stuff that we love so much.
I'm on it. All right, so I'm going to launch the exit survey. So if people need to run out, they definitely can. And there are no questions in the chat, but I would just love to hear from you, Josh and Anna. So the title of this webinar was Impact and Integration, Maximizing the Outcome of K-12 Technology Purchases. So maybe just to close us out, hearing some of your thoughts on how these tools can really help schools make a big impact with their technology, help with the integration process while they're bringing new technologies into the classroom, and how that really can all result in better outcomes for students and teachers, and just your final thoughts on that.
You want me to do that, Anna, or do you want to go?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I always think about a technology deployment as being at least 2-dimensional, maybe more. But I think about a widespread deployment where everyone is using the technology, and that's great. That see that the 3rd graders using it just as much as the ROTC teachers using it. I love to see that. But really, what can happen in a lot of times is we use the technology to do what we've always done. And we have the appearance of change, because we used to have kids poring over microscopes and notebooks and pencils and paper. And now when you go in, you observe and you see kids sitting in front of Chromebooks and using panels and that kind of thing. And it looks so different. But don't look too close, because you might find out that it's just the appearance or the illusion of change. And that, to me, is a nightmare scenario, and it's something that we are acutely aware of at Trafera and working toward a solution for that, so that the deployment is not just broad, but it's also deep. It penetrates deep into the learning experience, so that teachers are actually helping to design a learning experience that is penetrating into the instructional design. It's having an impact on the student outcomes. Students are more prepared and better digital citizens, and ready to get out there and change the world for the good.
Yeah, and we know teachers have such limited time to learn new resources and new tech tools, and we try to wrap it up into a package that makes it as easy and for them to apply to their classrooms as possible, and in doing that, understand the value and the importance of it in application for future lessons that they're doing as well. So just really want to help lead that charge.
Great. Well, if you have any more questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself or pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll extend huge thanks to Josh and Anna again for presenting this today. And not only did they present it, but they have built the structure at Trafera for being able to provide all these resources for our customers. So there were some questions in the chat that came up around getting your school whitelisted. If you were kind of running into that problem, feel free to email me, kate.spangenberg. It's in the chat. I messed it up in the chat the first time, but it is kate.spangenberg@trafera.com. And I will work with our team to make sure that your school either gets whitelisted if you are a current customer, or that you can get 90-day access so you can really test it out and try it. But I hope that you guys love all these tools. We're really proud of them. And thank you so much again for joining us today, and have a great early half of your school year.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Almost Friday too.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.